Okay, so little did I know until about 5 minutes ago. Um, we are probably going to finish the parak tonight. Okay. Yeah, and the reason why I didn't know that is because we had two pesukim left, and when I was compiling the meforshim like I usually do, then I saw that almost all of them say that the pesukim are should be treated as one pasuk, and you'll see why as soon as we read it. Okay, so let's get started here. He Oh, and also I'm kind of relieved because I mentioned this last time. I'm getting a little tired of psukim about tzadikim and roshaim. I just want to like mix it up a little bit, and thankfully this one is not the typical tzadik and rasha pasuk, in my opinion. Okay, so having said that, Pi tzadik yanuv chachma ulashon tapujos tikares. And then I'll read the second one, even though we'll work on one at a time. Sifse tzadik yedun ratzon ufi roshaim tapujos. So the fact that it's both talking about tzadikim in speech and it uses tapujos, it means basically treat this as one long pasuk. Okay, so who wants to take a stab at this? And the only really unusual word is yanuv, but I'll help you with that if need be. Anyone?
I can try.
Oh, yay, Mayan. Okay, go ahead.
The mouth of a tzaddik. Yeah, I'm gonna need help with yanuv.
Yeah, of a tzaddik. Okay, so the mouth of a tzaddik. So yanuv. I did something unusual for this one also. So let's do Metzudat ציון. Okay, so he says like this, and we're not doing these as commentaries. We're doing these as like glossary meforshim. Yanuv inyan dibur. So it means speech. Okay, so the mouth of a tzaddik speaks wisdom. Okay, but then he goes on and he says, "Kamo bore niv sefasayim." So here's the problem. The problem is that the best. Sorry, hold on. I'm rolling over this cord. The best pasuk that uses this word is this pasuk in Yeshayahu. Okay, who refers to God as the one who creates the niv sefasayim, and there it means speech. Okay, now the Meiri jumps in and he says, "Halo azim lo azim milas yanuv kmo yidaber." So he says foreigners, and I don't know which foreigners he's talking about. He says foreigners or people who speak a foreign language, they translate the word yanuv as speech. Inyan niv sefasayim. So that's exactly what the Metzudat ציון did. Uve emes naus lo azokain. And in truth, it's good to translate it in a foreign language like this. I don't know what this foreign language thing is. Avaha pirush hu yoti pri chachma. But the explanation is that it brings forth fruits of chachma. V'hu nigzar mi tenuva. It comes from the word tenuva, which, if that word sounds familiar, it's because it's in al hamichya. Okay, al tenuvas hasadeh, right, on the fruits of the field. And he says shu inyan hotsaas pri. It means producing fruit. Hein betvua, hein ba'asavim, whether like produce from the ground or whether like other growths. Okay. So then I looked at the Metzudat ציון on the pasuk in Yeshayahu, and here's what he says there. Inyan dibur kamo yanuv chachma. So he quotes our pasuk in Mishlei to mean speech. V'humi lashon tenuvo sadai. Then he quotes the Meiri's one. So now I'm like, okay, what is he going to say? So he says ki hadibur hu pri halashon, because speech is the fruit of the mouth. Okay, so the way I would like to treat this basically is the mouth of the tzaddik speaks wisdom. Okay, but we have a little asterisk here, and for speech we're going to say the denotation is speech, but the connotation is producing fruit. Okay, so I don't know if there's a good word in English that like uses a verb for fruit production to mean speaking, but that's kind of how you should think about this word. So it means to speak, but it means to speak in the same way that a tree gives fruit. Okay, complicated word, but that's, I think, the best way to explain it. Okay, so that's Pi tzadik yanuv chachma. Go ahead, Mayan.
And the language or tongue.
Okay, really language. Oh, you. I think you'll see in a second which one is better.
Okay, I feel like tongue. Okay, tongue. Yeah. Will be cut or in to be cut. I'm not really
Tapujos
sure.
is like from the flip is okay, right? But Tapujos is like from the word hefech or nahafochu. So, and it's an adjective. So the tongue. Sorry, it's either an adjective. No, it's not an adjective because this is plural. Well, hold on. No, it's not an adjective. The tongue of, this is going to be a noun, of plural noun. The tongue of blank will be cut out. And is that why you decided to go with tongue because it's being cut out?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Anyone want to try Tapujos? Okay, so there's a couple translations of Tapujos. Okay, one is I think the most literal translation is reversals. Okay, the other one is duplicities, like two-facedness. Okay, or like saying one thing to one person and one thing to another. Okay, so that's what we have there. Okay, Mayan, you want to do the next one?
Yeah. And the lips of the tzaddik will know, the will.
Yep, will know. Okay, so ratzon can mean will, or it can also mean something else. Like when we say, let's see, what's an example of ratzon? Like ritzei Hashem Elokeinu, like in the bracha of ritzei. So you could say it just means will, or like ritzui, or
Like desire.
Yeah, desire, or let's say favor. Okay, because just to differentiate it from like chayfetz or something. So the lips of a tzaddik will know, or sorry, not will know. The lips of the tzaddik know favor, or will.
And the lips of the rashaim.
And the
reversals.
The pirushaim.
Oh, in the mouth of the rashaim are reversals.
Yeah, is reversals or duplicities. Yeah. Okay.
Ask a question.
Yeah.
Is reversals like why aren't we just saying opposite? I feel like reversals isn't a word.
Oh, yeah. Why are we saying reversals? I can't explain why, because I think Tapujos. Hold on. See, this is like my grammar intuition here. I think okay, I don't know if this is biblical Hebrew or not. I think hefkaios would be opposites. I don't know if I'm just making that up though. I don't know grammar enough to say. Let's go to the English people and see what they say. Okay, the mouth of a righteous one speaks wisdom, but a duplicitous tongue. So they even do it less literally. They make it an adjective. Will be cut off. The lips of a righteous one speaks wisdom. What? Maybe I just typed that. Oh, I just typed it twice. That's why. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me just look at the actual article here. Like I said, I just discovered this like right before Shiur, and I had to like type it up hastily. Okay, the lips of a righteous person. Oh yeah, this is also makes me frown in a different way. Lips of a righteous person, righteous one. Where is this? Know how to appease God. Okay, in brackets. But the mouth of the wicked is duplicitous. Okay. Living Nach says a righteous man's mouth expresses wisdom. Okay, expresses is it has the word pre in it. That's a bad reference. But a forked tongue will be cut off. So they're going with the English idiom of a forked tongue. The righteous man's lips know to appease, but the mouths of the wicked antagonize. Where are they antagonized from? See, okay, I don't get this, right? It uses the exact same word in the Hebrew. So why did the translator switch it? Okay, we're going to delete this in indignation. Alter says the mouth of the righteous puts forth wisdom, but a perverse tongue will be cut off. Okay, perverse. Yeah, I also don't like that translation. The lips of the righteous will know to please. Okay, please, I guess, is a good one for Raton. And the mouth of the wicked, perverseness. Okay, so he's really liking this perversity translation here. I guess because you're doing the opposite of what's supposed to be. I don't know. I'm not a fan. All right, and our scroll is similar enough to ours that we'll just delete this and just go straight to the questions here. Okay, so let me just, I think we could delete the, oh, I always do this every year. Hold on, not every year, every time. I always forget to save this as a separate document for analysis notes. Okay, right now we can delete these and delete all this and get our questions. Okay, and you might think, by the way, just this is not really methodology, but you might think that, oh, we have two pesukim, so like there's more to do and it's going to take us a longer time. Maybe, but also maybe like it's just as like it's one long pasuk, so it's going to be easier for us to do. You know, who knows? We'll see where it ends up. Okay, so what are the questions?
Yeah, how do you read it in one long pasuk?
How or why?
How is your read it in one pasuk?
That is basically just like it's basically saying the second half of the first one is also about the wicked. That's how you'd read it. So Pi Tzadik Yanuv Chachma Ulashon Tapujos Tikares. So it knows like the mouth of a tzaddik. Okay, here's exactly how you do it. I'll make it into one pasuk. Okay, hold on. Watch this. And I think if you want an instruction manual on this, the Re Ibn Kaspi talks this out in words. Like he says, if you want to make this into one pasuk, this is what you do. Hold on. There. Pi Tzadik Yanuv Chachma Usfasav Yedun Ratzon. The mouth of a tzaddik expresses chachma and his lips know favor. Ufi Rishayim Tapujos Ulashon Tapujos Tikares. And the mouth of the wicked is duplicitous or whatever, and a duplicitous tongue will be cut out. Okay, let's snip, copy, paste, cut, paste, and then you got it there. Yeah, in fact, I'll write that. I'll write it as one anyway, just in case we want to look at it that way and make it makes it easier. Okay, so in a flowy way, it would be like this. Hold on. Ooh, yucky font. Okay, hold on. You got to go back to Calibri. Got to go back to 12. Okay, so 11. No, 12. All right. The mouth of a tzaddik expresses wisdom, and his lips know favor. But the mouth of the wicked is, I guess, filled with duplicities, and a duplicitous tongue will be cut out. Yeah.
Now the other question is why.
The other question is why for what?
Like why are we combining these two pesukim? Like,
why are we?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it looks like they were written to be read together because they both use the same terminology and have the same subjects. And if you're going to ask why didn't Shlomo put them together, it's because it'd be too long. And that's a reality. Like Mishlei has a certain minimal shear in terms of not like halakhically. Mishlei is like, they're proverbs, so like they're short,
I have a question.
Yeah.
What's the parallel in having the mouth of a tzaddik like produce wisdom or whatever the word is?
Yeah.
And like the tongue being cut out, because I feel like one.
Oh, okay, good.
The first one is like what's that word? Like sequential. I don't know.
Yeah.
And the second one is like something would happen to that thing.
Okay. So let's see what would be the broadest way to ask that question. Okay, I guess yeah. Do you use the word symmetrical, or did you use what word did you use?
No, I said sequential.
Sequential. Okay.
That I don't know if that's a word, but
yeah. Okay. So let's ask it like this. The two halves don't seem to be exact opposites in their imagery or their structure. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay.
Well, can't we say it more like that they're mismatched? Meaning,
yeah, that's a really concise way to say it. Okay, the two halves seem mismatched. Okay, and I think they're mismatched in at least two ways. So Schiffer pointed out, it describes what the tzaddik's speech does, but says what will happen to the rasha's faculties of speech. Right? That's what you're pointing out, Shifra?
yeah.
Okay, and then I think there's another thing that's mismatched, or at least one more.
I mean, like the whole thing seems mismatched, meaning the first half of the first pasuk and the second half of the second pasuk seem to be good opposites. Like what's the mouth of the Tzadik do and what's the mouth of the rasha do? Yeah. And then the second half of the first pasuk and the first half of the second pasuk seem to be well matched as far as like what happens to the lips or the tongue of the Tzadik or the rasha. Yeah. So it seems weird that they're mismatched.
Yeah. Okay. So that's actually good, and that's actually a raya that's a proof for Ariel's thing about that they should be read together. Anyone know what you call it when you have a pattern that looks like this? A, B, B, A. Fancy term that you either learned in fancy Tanakh classes or in my AP English class.
Is it a chiastic?
Chiastic, yeah, right. It's a chiasm. It's A, B, C, B, A. You know, and chiasms are academics love chiasms because, and I guess poets also love chiasms because they point to a unity in a thing. So the fact that, exactly like Zach said, you can say P Tzadik and P rasha clearly go together. Those are their mouths, and then the lips and tongue. I don't know if this is what you're thinking, Zach, but like those are both like there's the the facial orifice, which is the mouth, and then there's like the organs of speech, you know, like the lips and the tongue, you know, or the, I don't know what you call them, you know, tools of speech.
Well,
you know?
I was thinking of it more as like the result of what happens with,
Oh,
like,
interesting.
you know, like they have their mouth, and then there's the result of what they do with their mouth.
So
gets
okay,
them.
that's interesting because I was not looking at this as a result, but I think that that's definitely a good reading. I was thinking of this as a description of the activity, but I hear the result thing. Okay, that's good. So yeah, Ariel.
Yeah, the rasha is also missing in the second half of the first pasuk.
Yeah, that's
And-
weird.
Yeah, and
Yeah, the Tzaddik's present in both cases. Yeah, I'm going to ask that question, even though that might just be a stylistic quirk here. Why is the rasha not mentioned in the first pasuk? Yeah, that's like a juicy thing where, like, I feel like if we can answer that, then that'd be really satisfying. Yeah, Patina?
Similar to like what Zach was saying, but a little bit different.
Yeah.
What's the difference between like mouth, lips, and tongue? Like, do they serve a
Okay.
function?
Yeah, so let's say, what, if anything, is the difference between mouth, lips, and tongue? And again, just for the sake of a methodological review here, we say what, if anything, because many of the meforshim will say that it all just means speech. But here we have reason to believe that it's using tongue specifically because I don't really know about barbaric practices, but like, I feel like the stereotypical way to stop someone talking is you cut their tongue out. You don't cut their lips off, you know? So if it wants that imagery, then it could then that might be why it uses that. There's one, just to finish off this question here before we do other ones. I feel like there's another mismatch in, Ariel's point really goes there. Hold on. Oh, no, I think it should be its own question. I think it deserves to be its own question. Okay, there's another mismatch I feel like here that makes it feel like mixed metaphors.
With the tifoho,
Yeah.
I'm not pronouncing it right. The first one's by the Tzadik and the second one's by the rasha, but not in the same pasuk. That makes sense.
Say that one more time. Are you talking about the Tapujos?
Yeah, it's a Tapujos.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Did I misread the pasuk?
Well, it is about the rasha. It's just not saying it there, you know.
Right. No, I misread it.
Okay, yeah, that's
Okay,
but that stands to, you know, that highlights the power of this question about why is the rasha not mentioned. It makes it sound like the only subject mentioned in the pasuk is, well, see, that's the weird thing, right? Hold on a second. Why is the rasha not mentioned in the pasuk in the first pasuk? Alternatively, why is it comparing the why is the subject of the first half the Tzadik, but the subject of the second half the tongue? maybe that's where the wait, no, never mind, that doesn't work out. Forget it. I was gonna make a bad joke. Okay, to me, if you lean on this thing of the tongue producing fruit, then you have a mixed metaphor here. Okay, which is that if you, again, the Meiri seems to hold that it really means to, like, you know, it's alluding to fruit, you know. So why is the fruit analogy used for the Tzaddik's speech, but no analogy is used for the rasha, right? It's just describing in both, in all two parts. It's just talking about his literal, the thing he uses to speak, and saying should get, well, okay, it is an analogy. It's saying it should get cut off. It's fine. So why is, but using a more literal analogy, i.e. the cutting out the tongue, or the rasha.
How is that different than a question of one?
Because how is that different than A? Well, you were putting more on the focus on like how on the tzaddik does this and this happens to the rasha, and I'm saying the tzaddik produces fruit, and fruit is what you should be thinking about when you hear the speech. When the rasha, there's what happened to the fruit, you know? Yeah. And I'm according to the Metzudas ציון, then my question doesn't even apply because he just says Yanuv means to speak. You know, so this question is really only according to the meiri that Yanuv has the connotation of fruit.
Can I ask a technical question on how we translated it?
Sure.
So in the second pasuk, it says the lips of the tzaddik no favor, and then there's like that will. Is it will favor as an alternative to no, or is it the lips of the tzaddik no will? Like I'm just confused.
Oh yeah. Sorry, they know will. Yeah. Is there a better way to say will? Yeah, I think let's go with favor. Okay, I think like it can mean will, but I think here it's I didn't say meforshim, I say it means will. So we'll
will meaning okay. I mean,
like
I
being
know.
in line with someone's will, which is favor. You know, it's just that we often translate it as will, like to be, you know, to have a willpower.
Yeah, I was also going to ask about that because I don't know if we were mentioning it because there was a lot going on with like ABC, whatever.
Yeah.
So with knowing favor, first of all, like, what does that actually mean? Like, are we talking about like Hashem? Are we talking about like literally what the heck are we talking about?
Yeah.
And also, is there a parallel with the rasha for that?
Okay. Whose favor? Okay, God's, other people's, specific people's. Okay.
Also,
And then what was the second thing you said?
I asked about the parallel between that once
yeah.
we figure out what that means, and then what it can mean for the rasha. Like, should we be
Okay, so let's say this. Okay, I think this is a good way to ask that question, which is what are the opposites within each pasuk? Okay, meaning how is speaking chachma the opposite of duplicitous tongue, and then how is knowing favor the opposite of duplicitous tongue? Which, if we answer those, you know, A equals B, B equals C, blah blah blah, then you'll find out that speaking chachma and yedun ratzon are related somehow, which I guess we'll ask also. How are speaking wisdom and knowing favor related? Yeah, Ariel.
Yeah, the other question is, what does it mean that the tzaddik speaks wisdom? And I like, and also with the connotation that's produced.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, what does it mean when it says the tzaddik? What does it mean by the tzaddik speaks wisdom? And then what is added by the producing fruit connotation?
Also, same thing for the opposite. Like, what does it mean to be speaking duplicities? And also, why is that like a negative thing?
Yeah. What does a tongue/mouth of duplicity / reversals mean? And what was the second thing you said?
Like, why is that a negative thing?
Yeah. What's so bad about that? Yeah.
Well, I mean, duplicities are pretty bad, though. No.
Why?
You know what? This is gonna surprise you. Maybe I shouldn't reveal too much.
No, don't reveal it. Don't reveal it.
Okay. Yeah.
So also, I'm not sure yet what the question is, but something's bothering me about the lack of new information in the two second halves of the pasuk. Meaning with the tzaddik, we get like he speaks wisdom and we get he knows favor.
Mhm.
For the rasha, we have the tongue of reversals will be cut out.
Right.
And then the mouth of the wicked is reversals. Like he could have just said the wicked, like if you just would have put wicked in the first half, then he wouldn't, I mean, in the first pasuk, there would be no new information in the second.
Yeah. And I feel like once he's using up space, like why not just like use that space to give us more information about the rasha. Like you efficiently use your space to give us more information about the tzaddik. Yeah, I also don't know how to ask that question, but I'll try to say it, which is why is there an asymmetry in the amount said about the tzaddik versus the rasha? Okay, i.e., he gives us two nice ideas about the tzaddik and like 1.25 ideas about the rasha. Okay, right? I feel like it's like the tongue will be cut out is an idea. Sorry, duplicitous tongue will be cut out, and like, oh, and by the way, that's the rasha. It's his mouth. Like, it's just feels like you're just not getting he's like he got lazy at the end of chapter 10. Like, hopefully we will not be. Yeah,
I feel like this question is a proof for there needing to be a difference between P and rasha. And
yeah, I think so. Right. Yeah, I think that's a good argument for yeah. I'm gonna just make a note of that here.
Could we re-explain the last thing that just happened?
Okay, well, the two things that just happened. So the first thing was what Zach said, which is if you look at the pasuk, the first half of each pasuk is telling you like Pi Tzadik Yanu Chachma. Okay, that feels like an idea. Sifsei Tzadik Yedun Ratzon. Okay, that feels like an idea. All right, that's good for the tzaddik. Two ideas for the tzaddik. Second half of the first pasuk, Lashon Tapujos Tikares. Okay, that feels like an idea. Upi Rishayim Tapujos. Okay, that's basically saying the same thing, Like, it doesn't feel like it's giving you like a nice full other idea. And then so Mayan said that seems to be an argument for why Pi Rishayim must be different than Lashon, that Pi and Lashon are different, because then you could say it's giving you a new idea. Yeah. Is this an indication that that mouth and tongue have different meanings? Yeah, okay.
I like that point.
Yeah.
This isn't a writing down question. This is just like,
okay.
When we say duplicity is like, we just mean like duplicates, right? Like the same thing over again.
So no. So duplicity is I would translate duplicity. So I think duplicity literally comes from the word two-face, like two-facedness, where you say one thing to one person or in a certain company, and then you say something completely different in another company. I'm gonna actually look it up just to be sure. Hold on.
It means deceitfulness.
Yeah, but it's a specific kind of deceitfulness.
Is this like a word that people know?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. We all have words like that. So it's funny, Ariel, it does say deceitfulness is the first translation, but double dealing, archaic is doubleness. Let me just look up duplicitous.
I mean, it's definitely negative.
Yeah, it's definitely negative.
Okay, so now I get why everyone was confused when I was like, why is duplicity a bad thing? Okay.
Well,
no, I thought you were asking let's be thorough and Mishleic question,
No, like, I was actually just like, oh, the same thing over again. Like, I say the same thing over again all the time. Like,
okay. Yeah, I see the confusion now. Yeah.
But according to you, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think, don't we ask this about everything in Mishlei? Like we don't just say if the rasha says, if it says that the rasha always lies, we don't just say, oh, well, lying is obviously bad. We don't need to think about it,
Well, I guess unless you're a spy for a righteous person, then yeah, being deceitful is fine. But like normally,
okay, I am okay. Let me just say right now, Rabbeinu Yonah is going to defend me.
Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
Yeah. I don't think it's a way that we're gonna take it, but yeah.
Well, I think with any midah, it could be good or bad.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah. Not to flex. I just read a Gemara that was like, oh yeah, you're allowed to like take a goat out of a hole on Shabbos because like you could just lie and say that like you wanted a different goat or something, and they were just like saying that lying.
You had me at you could take a goat out of a hole. Wait, what's the scenario here? Is it like you're going grocery shopping and like they keep them in holes? Like what's going on?
It's the greatest thing ever.
You guys don't just see holes and goats in them.
Wait, explain it again.
This was
no, I'm done. I'm done talking.
I don't know why it took my mind. I guess I'm just picturing like a very deep hole with like the goat up it. Like you just see like it's like whack-a-mole, but it's just like goat heads. coming
Honestly,
out
I
of the
thought I
hole.
must have misheard something.
Yeah, I still think I might have misheard something. That was
Oh,
good.
okay, we're done. We're done.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. You don't need to go into that. Okay. All right. Do we have any more questions here?
Yeah, can I ask a question
Yeah.
on
How did the goat get there?
we're leaving the goat. Yeah, Vital.
I guess on how to like read it for Lam and Bet when it says like Siftei Tzadik Yid Un Raton, if either they like no or like please. I'm still confused how we're translating that part, but could we translate it as the Upi Rishayim Tahafuchot? Can that mean like it actually or flips it?
It
As
flips
in,
what? The
like
favor?
the rut, I guess like the Raton or whatever knowledge is known.
That's it's a good question. I see. I'm really. I wish I knew better grammar for the Tapujos, and usually the person I would look to is alter, but he defined it as perversity, which is like less literal than what we're doing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think even if you couldn't do that in language, maybe you could do it in idea. Like in other words, Lashon Tapujos here in the first one is the opposite of Yanuv Chachma, and then Pirushayim Tapujos here is going to be the opposite of Yedun Ratzon. So I think there's a good chance that you could accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, even if you can't read it that way. If that makes sense.
Okay, I'm gonna have to think about it.
Yeah.
In terms of idea.
Okay. Are we ready to think?
Wait, before we
Yeah.
we should always be thinking, but
Yeah.
but having these two pesukim together reminds me
Yeah.
of how we do like Tehillim. Like, is there any like similarity there between? Because I know like it would be cool because David, Shlomo.
I don't think so. I think it's just sometimes you do get pesukim that are too long to be one pasuk, so he writes it in two and he does it poetically. Let me just show you, just so you know I'm not making this up. I believe it's the Ibn Kaspi in one of his commentaries. He has two commentaries, and he explains it in a really roundabout way. Just one second. I want to find it before I display it. Is it here? It must be. Hold on. You can start thinking, or just don't stop thinking if you're already thinking. Before. Oh, huh. No, that's not what I wanted. YouTube Robin. What is he talking about? All right, I can't find. I thought there was a longer comment. I'll just show you the shorter version. I don't know why the Ibn Kaspi wrote two commentaries, but that's what I was looking through. So he says, sorry. Oh, I was looking at the wrong one. Oh, no. Okay, I misunderstood him. He's saying this about the previous pasuk. That this one goes with the previous pasuk. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, Rivki. I think it's just a longer pasuk.
So are we gonna be continue with Parak next week?
No, we're doing it. We're doing it now. This is we're finishing it. We're gonna explain both of them.
I thought that Ibn Kasbi would.
No, I thought he acknowledged that there is a category like this, but he says it's 31 and 31 together. I thought he was saying 32 and 31 go together, but I'm convinced that 31 and 32 go together. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so let's do thinking time, and this is going to be a small screen here. Let me fix the layout.
I have an annoying question.
Yeah.
Can you color code the English part, please, too?
Oh, yes. No problem. Okay. Yeah, I like color coding this stuff. Okay, speaks wisdom is going to be in yellow, and the mouth of the wicked is reversals is in yellow, and then this is in blue, and this is in, oh, I could have just done one thing. This is in blue, and then we'll delete this so we can move this up. Now everything's on screen. Okay, let's have our thinking minute.
Wait, why did you code it like that?
Oh, did I do it wrong?
I think so, unless I'm misunderstanding what you're doing.
Oh, that's how you did the Hebrew part.
Yeah, well, I did it like that to show it goes A, B, and then B, A.
Oh, okay, fine. I thought you were.
Yeah.
Never mind.
That's okay. You can, I mean, it could be color coded in different ways. I was just doing it from Zach's observation.
Well, okay, to Ariel's point, I think my observation might have coded it differently, but it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, I thought you were saying that the mouth of the Tzadik and the mouth of the Rishaim go together, and then the tongue of the
Oh yeah, we might have made yeah, actually we may have made more than one observation, so that
yeah,
might fit.
that was the one I was that was when I colored it. If it matters.
What's the ninth question? Can you just
Yeah, the ninth question is, why is there an oh, sorry, I didn't realize that it wasn't showing all of it. There it is.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah. I have a question that we missed.
What is it, Tzadik?
Oh yeah, that's also true. Yeah, actually, my question is related to that. So it's possible that this is only a question on the first pasuk, but why is the first pasuk about a tzaddik rather than a chacham or navon? Because I feel like we've seen a lot of pesukim in chapter 10 about the navon speaks chachma, or speaking chachma is not something like obviously tzaddikim are chachamim, but you don't typically. If I asked you, if I conceal the fact that this is about a tzaddik, and I said whose speech produces chachma, you'd probably say like a navon, someone who's like involved in understanding things. Like we've had many pesukim like that. Let me see if I can find them. Oops. Yeah, we have. It was 13. Besifsed navon timatse chachma, v'shevet legev chasar lev. That was earlier last year. In the lips of a navon, you will find chachma, and a couple other ones like that also, I think. Yeah.
But this is a mouth. There's a difference.
Ah.
A big difference between mouth and lips.
Okay. Anyone want to start us off with a half-baked idea?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a very basic idea.
Sure.
I was thinking, especially the reason I also think it's basic is just I think it might be too similar to last week's or the week before that. But basically, I was thinking that these could be speaking about just how the world is run in terms of I think the main thing I was thinking about was the favor thing, because I feel like that really is one of the main points, especially because it doesn't really speak anything about that for the rasha.
Right.
I was thinking that it could be that it's both Hashem's favor, and then also because of that, just how the way of the world basically. So not only is the tzaddik, will he know favor through his speech and through his wisdom, because he has wisdom, but not only does he have wisdom, but he also will relay that through his speech. And then that obviously is affecting his community and the people around him. And because of that, that's just how we know, like, Hashem obviously likes whatever that means, wisdom over anything negative, or especially because it is thinking. It's not just a positive characteristic or quality, but like I think that's one of our main values in Judaism. That's like the most basic idea. And then with the rasha, I was also thinking that it's interesting that it says kares, because that's like a very like, I don't know, like what's the word I'm looking for? Like not judicial, but like we talk about kares like as a punishment. So I was thinking it could be about like not just reward and punishment, but like really just how Hashem runs the world.
Okay, so I'll tell you just initial response to this. So my initial response, my initial response, and then the follow up. You saved yourself there. My initial response was the same reason why I kind of like cringed when I saw the Art Scrolls translation. That like making this pasuk about Hashem's favor to me is a forced read because it doesn't say Hashem. And there are lots of pesukim that say Hashem loves so and so, or Hashem favors so and so. And so it felt like putting Ratzon Hashem into here when it's not there. However, you are right that kares also has a connotation. Kares is not just a normal word for like, cutting. It's associated with like the penalty of kares, So you could say that this is talking about the soul. And once you're in the realm of the soul, you could talk about like Hashem's favor, And again, Metzudas David does take your interpretation. So, I'm not saying it's an illegitimate idea. I'm just saying like I was not inclined that way because it felt like inserting something into the pasuk that's not there. Yeah. Okay. So we can.
I do get that, but I also do think that like I don't think it technically just has to be like the kares that we learn about. Like I think it also has a more practical outcome as well.
Right. Yeah. It's both. Yeah. That's the classic Shlomo HaMelech move of using a word with two implications to convey to double the ideas.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yeah.
It doesn't say that the Tzadik knows favor. It says that the lips of the Tzadik knows favor.
That's also true.
So
right.
How does that play in?
That's a good question. Yeah. I'll add that to the list, and then we'll go to Penina. Just give me 1 second. Why attribute it to the lips, especially because lips don't know things, like lips don't have brains, they're run by the brain. Yeah, Penina?
Okay, it's not completely finished this thought, but
sure.
I was thinking that mouth, tongue, and lips are all different levels of like control of your speech.
Okay.
And that your mouth connotates a certain control because it's your mouth, but a tongue connotates less control because it kind of just is like there, and it has the connotation of like you run your tongue, you run your mouth, but like your tongue, whatever. That's the feeling I got. And also like it will be cut out, meaning like you can't stop it, kind of, even because like tongues grow back.
Tongues grow back?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure tongues grow back.
Are you thinking of like starfish limbs?
No.
You're like lizard tails.
No, like if your tongue's too big and you have like a surgery to cut it down, it'll grow back.
Really?
Okay,
hold on a second. So Google, the first result says, so does the tongue grow back? So it appears to be that a tongue that's completely cut out will not grow back. But tongues do regenerate in small parts. So I think that's like the reason why I reacted that way is because like all the people in movies who have their tongue cut out, like I feel like it just doesn't grow back. Like otherwise it wouldn't be a thing, And I do think this means like cutting out the entire tongue.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But the idea is still there.
Okay.
And then the lips kind of take even more structure because like when you speak, you make a certain sound with your mouth, but your lips really like make the difference between certain sounds.
Yeah.
And so what I think is going on here is the mouth of a tzaddik speaks wisdom. That's like a mid-level of control.
Yeah.
And then it's not even talking about a rasha. It's talking about someone who has no control over their tongue. And so they just say whatever here and there to whoever. And there isn't a lot of control there. And then the lips of the tzaddik, no favor because it's very precise. And the reason why this is a higher level. And then I don't know how like that compares, but the mouth of a wicked person, which is a higher level of control than a random person who just runs their tongue. Basically what happens there is the wickedness is the duplicity. So like there's intention behind why they say what they say to different people. Like there's evil intent. if that makes sense. I just don't know what the favor would be in like wisdom and like the particular.
Okay, I like that as a half idea. So just to repeat here, so the mouth, tongue, and lips are different levels of control. Mouth is the middle one, tongue is the least controlled, and lips is the most controlled. And that's why lips are associated with the tzaddik knowing favor, because the precision in his speech that he calculates to know favor, whatever that means. And then the evils that it's pointing out for the rasha are of two types. One is the uncontrolled speaking duplicitously, and the other one is the calculated speaking duplicitously. And okay, good. That's really good. Like, pieces that we can assemble to make an idea.
Can I just get technical with that interpretation for a second?
Sure.
It seems like in pasuk 32, and the mouth of the wicked is duplicities, and in pasuk 31, the tongue of duplicity will be cut. It seems like the harsher punishment is the tongue, in which case it would be more important than the mouth.
I actually thought about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I forgot to mention it. Okay, I got distracted with this cutting the tongue thing out. But basically, it will be cut out because they don't have control over it. So they have natural consequences of it, where the wicked person is more precise and calculated about the deceit and the duplicity that they tell. So there's less of a immediate consequence, if that makes sense.
I'm not following.
Meaning, according to Penina, the tongue means uncontrolled speech, and uncontrolled speech is going to tend to receive a much bigger natural consequence. Like, you'll just get it cut out, But the mouth is more calculated, and so it's not. It's just alluding to the fact that this is bad. It's not spelling out what the consequence is. It's in the implications. I think it's not. It's yeah. I mean, I think to a certain extent, we're not going to be able to answer that until we talk about what is bad about duplicity. What is bad about duplicity? Abigail had her hand up. Did you put your hand down, Abigail, because you changed your mind, or?
I can't tell if this is like even a formed idea, especially now that I heard Penina's. I think that kind of goes hand in hand in like a more clear way. But I was kind of just thinking that the first pasuk is referring more to like an action, and then the second pasuk is like what leads to those actions or how those actions come about. So the lips of the tzaddik, okay, so the tzaddik will like speak wisdom. How does that happen? Because the tzaddik's lips know favor, whatever that means, and then the tongue of reversals or whatever will be cut out. Why would it be cut out? Because the mouth is wicked in its duplicities.
Okay, I think
cause and effect like backwards.
Yeah, I think that's worthwhile saying. That's what we're trying to figure out, is like what the structure is in the relationship between the two ideas, and so that could help us get there.
Can I also give I feel like it's a little bit similar to maybe to Penina's, but like in terms of like the P and Lashon and like the lips and all that, I was just thinking about like your mouth in general is composed of like all the parts that give you the capability to speak. So going back to like the bearing fruit kind of analogy, like trees and like things that bear fruit have the capability to do this. It's like a holistic capability versus like the lashon, like your tongue is one part. It's almost like one soldier, one part of it. I don't know how you want to put it.
Yeah.
And just going into the third thing. Oh, so the fact that it's going to be like hinder the capability to almost produce anything really, because right, the chacham has this, or the tzaddik has this capability to like bring forth wisdom. And then with the second half, I guess I was thinking like the lips are like what, meaning hold your knowledge. If you close your mouth, you can't like bring forth that knowledge that almost like has the capability to open it up, I guess, versus close it. And for the rasha, going back to the mouth as a whole, that's the structure that it's the whole thing that gives you the capability, kind of is turned upside down in a way. Like I keep going back to like bina hapachu, like that's the only thing I keep thinking of. But
so I got the first point and the last point, but for some reason I got lost in the middle. So let me state the first and the last point according to my understanding, and then tell me if I'm missing anything. So with the mouth is the entire system of speech that with the Tzadik's case, will naturally produce this chachma. It's all working together. In contrast, I guess I got part of the second point also, as opposed to the tongue, which is just one component of it. And then in the second pasuk, I missed what you said for the first half, but the second half, so the rasha's whole system has been completely reversed. Like whereas the Tzaddik's speech system is this chachma producing machine, and the rasha's is this like duplicity producing machine. It's been like completely perverted, you know. So is that accurate?
Yeah, that's basically it. And I think with the siftei tzadik, like in terms of like the lips, I'm still confused about the yid'un ratzon part, but whatever this knowledge that he has or knows or has the capability, his lips hold it. And then, but you're right, I'm not exactly sure how it connects to the
no, I like that way of talking about the mouth. That's good. In fact, I actually like that. I like what Penina was trying to do, but I like this part better because I feel like the mouth is the thing that actually, no, I can go both ways. I was gonna say I like referring to the mouth as the totality, and lips and tongue are parts. Yeah, Penina, you want to respond?
No, I had
a different idea,
a different thought about the wisdom and the favor.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it makes sense or if it's a little like. I was thinking maybe it's talking about how different people approach the same problem, maybe, and with duplicities.
Okay,
so
good.
The way that a tzaddik does it, he does it with wisdom, and somehow there's a difference between mouth and lips.
Yeah.
Doing it with favor, and so somehow there's a good way to do it and a bad way to do it.
Yeah.
I'm
okay.
Not
Good.
Exactly sure how that fits into what I said before.
Okay. So that's really good. I'll tell you why I said it was good even before I heard what you were saying, is because one question which we did not ask is what situation is this talking about? You know, and oftentimes in Mishlei, you get a case where you have the same situation and the tzaddik is going about doing something in the right way and the rasha is going about doing something in the wrong way. And the other reason I'm smiling, should I spoil it now?
No.
Okay, I won't spoil it yet. Let's just say Rabbeinu Yonah takes Penina's idea and runs with it in a way that will have Ariel's jaw dropping.
Wait, can I just like give my idea first?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Or attempt to.
Yeah, I also have a piece of an idea that or two pieces of an idea that I want to share before we go into Rabbeinu Yonah. Yeah.
All right, cool. So I feel like it's easier for me at least to just like take one pasuk at a time. And then see what we can do and combining and going crazy because my mind is a little jumbled up right now. But anyway, so maybe you could say that like the tzaddik, you know, he obviously has, you know, like a certain system that he's trying to accomplish, and that's through righteousness and righteousness, and you know, through his, you know, chachma and knowledge, he's trying to create a system where everything like works together and like whatever it is. But the point is, like, it could be a slow process, a complete slow process, and I'm trying to bring the mushal of the fruit thing. The fruit thing, like it's a slow process. You know, there's like, you know, stages, and each phase has its own, you know, time frame, and it could seem like a very long process. Like to get to that apple takes a lot of time. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And however, once that apple is, you know, in existence, it's like luscious. It tastes very good. It's beautiful, and you know, blah blah whatever, all that mushy stuff.
You had it going so well first.
Right. And the tongue of the duplicitors will be cut out. Maybe it means that, like, you know, it's immediately cut down, meaning like as soon as like the duplicity is like, once you're two-faced and once you start, you know, being deceitful and whatever, it's like this, like the tongue, like I want to say that the tongue is like the source of your, you know, bad speaking, whatever you want to, your deceitfulness, and you just cut it out immediately.
Yeah,
it's like,
that's a really good idea. Yeah, I think that's a really good idea for the first pasuk. So let me just say it again, and you tell me if I'm getting it. What you're saying, that the reason why it uses the fruit analogy for the tzaddik speech is because it is a gradual, slow process that you don't have fruit ripening instantly. It has to ripen and then you speak, and that's actually a very good mashal to use. Like, Tzaddik emphasizes how Mishlei, the Mishalim are designed not just to give you ideas, but also to affect your emotions. So if I told you, like, wait until your speech ripen, until your words ripen before you say them, you get that imagery into your mind, like that's a different kind of like pacing for speaking like that. Most of us don't operate that way. We just say what's on our mind. And then the cutoff is an instantaneous thing, and that the result of duplicity can lead to an instantaneous consequence. And I think I'm just going to fill in that. I said I had like a little idea. I think it fits in perfectly right there, which is that what's the I mean, this is not a new Mishleic idea, but what's the main Mishleic consequence of lying is that you destroy your credibility, and this pasuk fits in very well with that, because it's saying that you're using speech in a duplicitous way, you will lose the ability to speak, meaning your speech will become worthless now, like it's as if your tongue is cut out, and that can happen instantaneously.
I also like that because I feel like it reminds us that like speech really is like, we really do take it for granted. And I think like that's why you like run your mouth or like speak duplicitously to say it fancily.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder of that.
Yeah. That is definitely a good reminder. And that's why I like this idea as its own interpretation. Before I call on Zach and Tina, I just want to show you some, the Meiri, I think, says it really well. He doesn't say it in Ariel's terms, but I think he says it like in a way that complements it. So he says, so this is not a full idea. He says like this: Hakavana shapia tzadik yoti pri hachachma. Rotzalomar. So the idea is that the mouth of the tzaddik produces fruit of chachma. Rotzalomar shiotzi sichlo lafoal. It means his intelligence is actualized. Aval lashon tapujos. Hold on, is this part the same or different? Oh yeah, and then he says, hold on. Okay, so I guess it was just that part. The idea of like the tzaddik, for most people, it's like their mouth is operating automatically, but for the tzaddik, the mouth is actualizing his thoughts or his seichel, So it's a process of bringing to fruition ideas, which is a gradual process. I know that that's not saying the same thing as Ariel, but it fits in really well with that. Oh, I see Ariel's hand up now, and Penina and Zach are not. Yeah, Ariel.
I just want to hold my place after you call on Zach and
okay, fine. Yeah, so yeah.
Attempt to answer the second half.
Okay, sure, good. Yeah, Zach, you still have...
yeah, I put it down just because I saw that you saw me.
Yeah.
I assumed that was the same for
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I felt it too.
Okay.
So I actually have a holistic idea. Is now a good time for that?
Let's put that on hold for a second, because I actually want to hear Ariel's second interpretation for the second pasuk first, in hopes that we could put them together. But Penina, did you want to comment on that first part?
I kind of want to synthesize Ariel's idea with my ideas, so I'm gonna wait for Ariel.
Okay, sure. All right, Ariel, you're on.
Honestly, I was hoping I had a few more minutes.
Okay, no, Penina, you can go first if you want. You can synthesize it. Yeah.
Okay. So, but it synthesizes the second half also, so I don't want to.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Ariel's just letting the ideas ripen. Yeah.
So I'm going off of that wisdom means that you've thought it through.
Yeah.
And that lips, in my opinion, is still more controlled. So,
okay.
But it's like second nature almost.
Okay, good.
So basically you're in a situation, the tzaddik's in a situation where he basically needs to choose his words carefully. That might even be considered a lie, like whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And so because he's a tzaddik, he can use his wisdom and think it through and get to the right conclusion.
Yeah.
And that's why it's wisdom.
Yeah.
And like the person whose tongue is whatever is going to be cut out right away because there's no control. They say a lie, basically. It's not a good time.
Okay.
But the lips of a tzaddik knows favor. So this is when it's like I went to, and this could be wrong, a time where you actually need to tell a lie, not when it's like convenient or it might be a better situation, or like overall, but you actually need to lie. Like you're allowed to lie for shalom bayit, right?
Yeah.
So you have to lie. So you can either do it one of two ways. You can do it in a way where you're lying and like you're doing it in a way where like they might get what you're trying to say, or you're doing it with wicked intentions. But when a tzaddik does it with control and thought, it finds favor in like God's eyes. So because he's done the right thing, specifically the right thing. And then the mouth of a wicked person also has lies, but they're smart enough to get away with it that their tongue isn't cut out right away.
Okay, so Penina has like 95% intuited the entire Rabbeinu Yonah's approach, and this is the shocking part. I'll give you the teaser. Rabbeinu Yonah says that this pasuk is about how a tzaddik lies. Okay, and the only difference between Penina and Rabbeinu Yonah, like he even quotes like the same halachos and stuff, is that Penina said ratzon is in line with God's will, which is a good interpretation. Rabbeinu Yonah takes a slightly different approach. So Ariel, do you want more time? Because if you do, then I'll read through Rabbeinu Yonah for Penina, and if you want even more time, then we'll go to Zach, and then we'll go back to you.
No, so I think I got this, and in fact, I actually got Penina's, the tzaddik lying from the second half of the pasuk.
Okay, go ahead. So why don't you say it then, and then we'll do Rabbeinu Yonah, and then we'll do Zach. Okay.
Right. So the second half of the pasuk is, the mouth of the rasha. It's like defined. It's almost like you're saying it's like defined as like duplicity. It's like that's like exactly what it is. It's like the total.
That's just how he talks.
Totality.
Yeah.
It's that's just who he is. It's just he's two-faced and whatever. That's just his nature.
Yeah.
Right. But how in the world does that fit in with the first half of the pasuk? It's like what does that even mean? Like,
right.
My favor. It's like I think maybe it means that like the lips is it's not as like it's not the source of the speaking, and it's not the totality. It's the it's just like the like the minuscule aspect you use to speak. However,
we have just to remind, we have used that before with the lips being like the most external part of the speech, or like the superficial part of the speech.
Right.
That doesn't represent like what his core values are. It's just like an external thing that he's doing.
Right. And given the tzaddik's nature, he can understand when and where is appropriate to be deceitful.
Right.
To be two-faced within his framework that can help people. Yeah. And because it's his nature.
Okay, good. All right. So Zach, if you don't mind waiting a little bit longer, I want to read the Rabbeinu Yonah, and then we'll that'll show his approach to taking the same track as Ariel and Penina. Okay. So it's a little bit of a long Rabbeinu Yonah, but I think I want to read the whole thing. Oh, I highlighted this because that was where I first saw the idea. I want to go through the whole thing just for the sake of thoroughness, okay? And then we'll summarize. So he says like this: Pi Tzadik Yanuv Chachma, Yanuv Lashon Dibur. Okay, so he says Yanuv means to speak. V'chein Bori Niv Sefasayim. Okay, same pasuk that everyone else quoted. O Yihye Lashon Pri V'chein Umalu Pnei Tevel to Nuva V'tinu Sadai Chel Ki Yanuv Shepirushu Yafre Knuv. All right, fine. So that's just explaining the word. He says it could either mean to speak or to produce fruit. Okay, Va'inyan, and the idea: Pi Tzadik Yafre Chachma. The mouth of the tzaddik will produce fruit of chachma. What does that mean? Shiragil sfasav b'chachma. He has habituated his lips in chachma. He's made it a habit. Ad shehi lahem kipri la'etz, to the point where chachma has become to the tzaddik's lips like fruit on a tree. Shelo yidaberu bilti divrei chachma. That the only speech he has is chachma. Okay, so he's learning speech, lips as he's not tying it to lips. I don't know why he puts in the word lips here. I would say Hirgil Piv B'chachma, because the pasuk says mouth. But whatever, he's learning the fruit thing to be just like a fruit naturally produces chachma, because that's what it's in its nature to do. Chachma is naturally produced. Sorry, did I say chachma? Just like a tree naturally produces fruit, so too a tzaddik naturally produces chachma. Okay, it's not something foreign to him. All right, so that part's simple. Lashon Tapujos tikares. So he says reversals does not mean duplicity here. Okay, he says it means the opposite of the truth. Omeres latov ra ulara tov. He says he calls that which is good bad and that which is bad good. Umachzekes hasheker. Okay, so maybe he's going broader than this, and he reinforces falsehood. Umari panim lashav, and he shows false faces. V'chilu fa'emes, and the opposite of truth. Oh, sorry, v'chilu fa'emes hu hefech hachachma. The opposite of truth is the opposite of chachma. Al kain balash and tapujos al midas ha-tzadik sheyanu chachma, and that's why tapujos is the opposite of the tzadik who speaks chachma. So just to summarize so far, he's basically saying that the rasha is involved in all sorts of falsehood, whether it's saying things, calling bad things good and good things bad, or strengthening falsehood, or showing a false front. Okay, but he'll clarify as he goes on. V'loshen tapujos tikares hizkir haklala al hamida hahi. It mentions the curse on this midah. Kihi maguna admod. It's very despicable. Ulamata yizkor perush pirushaim no hegalaha the hefek mimidas tzadik. And then later on, it says that the mouth of the wicked is accustomed to doing this, which is the opposite of the midah of the tzaddik. Asher piv yanuv chachma. Ulagodo ras hamida hiktim kilalasa las kars midas haresha aleha. And due to how bad the midah is, it said the curse of the midah before it said the person who has it. So let me just walk you through the pasuk to show you what it means. So pi tzadik yanuv chachma, that is a midah. The tzaddik has the trait of speaking chachma. But lashon tapujos tikares is like the curse or the consequence of what happens to the rasha. And Pirushaim Tapujos says that the rasha has this bad midah, but the midah is so bad that it states the action before the person. Okay, like as if this action is so bad that we need to curse it right now. Okay, that's just explaining why it reverses the order here. Okay, that's like a stylistic thing. All right, but now we get to where Penina said to Penina and Ariel's idea. Okay, Sifsei Tzadik Yedun Ratzon. Lefishi his kir ki pi tzadik yanuv chachma. Once it mentioned that the mouth of the tzaddik expresses chachma, the kilel lashon tapujos, and it cursed a duplicitous tongue. Bal hodianu ki afal pi shelo yidaber hatzadik rak emes. It goes on and says that even though the tzaddik only speaks truth, darcho leshanos be'inyan hashalom, he will deviate from the truth. That's leshanos in a matter of peace. Okay, when it comes to shalom. And again, the version everyone quotes is shalom bayis, but the actual Gemara say it's for any type of shalom. Okay, not just shalom bayis. That's just like the example that people know from like Avram and Sarah. In this week's parsha, or was that last week's parsha? I can't remember. Okay, usfasav nohagos umlumados laratos chavero, and his lips are trained and accustomed to appease his friend. Okay, so he's not taking it as divine favor. He says his lips know ratzon. He's saying his lips know how to basically create shalom among people. You know, even if it means that he has to lie. Now, again, it's not saying that his lips have the habit of lying. Just read it again. His lips know favor, which means he's so accustomed to making peace between people that it's as if his lips know how to do it on their own. You know, it's natural for him to speak in ways that like appease people. And then the Rabbeinu Yonah is mentioning, even if sometimes he needs to deviate from the truth. So then he says, he quotes support from Mishlei, Shnemar Mane Rach Yashiv Chema, as it says, a gentle reply turns away wrath. So that's an example of lips knowing favor. And then he quotes the Gemara that says, V'chein Amru Zal, Mutter Lashanos B'divrei Shalom. It is permissible to lie or to deviate from the truth for matters of peace. And if you want a Rambam B'kiyos shir on that, I gave a shir on that last year. So I don't know if it was one or two shirim, but email me and I can send it to you. Okay, so this is exactly like Penina says. He says, it is not possible for a person to achieve peace. I mean, Penina didn't put it in terms of peace, but he says, it's not possible to achieve peace between people without lying. Okay, like you will at some point need to lie to create peace between people. And that's why Chazal praise it. Okay, in other words, it's a necessary evil with emphasis on the necessary and on the it's not evil if it's necessary. You know, like you're gonna have to do it at some point. Okay.
I just have a quick question.
Sure.
When it says like between people, does it mean both between like himself and other people and between just like not himself being involved, but like Let's say like two other people, and I guess he would be the third party. Like, what does it actually mean here?
So I mean, the classic case is they say like with Aaron Hakohen, right, who's Oiv Shalom or Rodiv Shalom, and I assume it's either Gemara or Brisa in Avos Rabbi Nassan says that what would Aaron do is that if he saw that like Rivki and I hope this is not awkward. Rivki and Avital were having a fight, and they weren't speaking to each other. So he would go up to Rivki and say like Avital feels really bad for what she said and like she wants to make up, but like she's afraid of what you'll say. And then he would go to Avital and say the same thing, and then both of you would like make up. So that's like the classic case. It could also be though in terms of your own making peace with other people, like again, you have to do it with chachma, like Penina said, but like you let's say someone offended you, okay, and you want to make peace with them, and let's say it like really did hurt, but you are actually ready to like make peace and move on. So you tell them like it wasn't that bad, or like I've gotten over it already, and you do it in order to make peace. Like if you're doing it in an unwise way and you're gonna like be holding this inside and you're gonna come out like in an unhealthy way, that's bad. But like I'm assuming you're doing it for that purpose. Ariel, is your hand up for something now or for later?
Well, I don't know why, but it was up for like 10 minutes. But either way, I still have something to say.
Sure.
Okay.
Actually, could you? Sorry, just one thing. I just realized we only have this one short paragraph left. Let's just finish reading the Rabbeinu Yonah and then summarize, and then we'll see what we get from this. Ufi Roshaim Tapujos. Pihem melumad v'ragil lahachria al hefach emes. Okay, so that's also like Penina was saying. Actually, I can't remember what Ariel said now. Their mouth is trained and habituated to like tilt things to the opposite of the truth. B'chol riv v'tochacha, in every dispute and rebuke. Ki yeh ribin anashim, when there's a fight between people. V'gam inam b'davar. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I didn't know how to punctuate it. When there's two people fighting. Okay, so let's take the Rivki and Avital example. Let's say Rivki and Avital are fighting. V'gam enam b'davar, and the rasha is not even involved in the fight. V'ein lahem bo toelis, and the rasha doesn't have any benefit from it. Darcham lahachriya al tainas hasheker, they will favor the false argument. Ulaharos la panim, and to like try to support it. Umash yevim lazeh, and why do they do this? Ki alpha pi shapalo tamid avla v'oshek. Because ki al pi shapalo tamid avla v'oshek v'chamas, that since their actions are always involving injustice and extortion and robbery, v'hutzruchu tamid latanos hasheker, and they always need to make excuses. When they get into fight with their friends, lemor lo pa'alnu avan, by saying I didn't do anything wrong. That is what habituates their lips to say of the bad that it's good and the good that it's bad, and to decide things in favor of falsehood. So I think what he means by that last part is Rishaim are always doing bad things, and they're always needing to lie about their own bad things. So psychologically, what that's going to do is it's going to predispose them. First of all, it's going to get them to the habit of making lies, but it's also going to predispose them to like strengthening falsehood. That the more like, I'll use a bad analogy. Like, let's say you have a bunch of troublemakers in like elementary school, and like, the one troublemaker is always lying. So the other troublemaker, even if he doesn't have a stake in the matter, will sometimes support his fellow troublemakers' lie in the eyes of the teacher, because the more, you're relying on this falsehood to perpetuate your evil lifestyle. So you want to wield that tool as much as you can for the sake of like upholding your lifestyle, So let me just summarize Rabbeinu Yonah, and then we can either have questions on Rabbeinu Yonah or refining these ideas. So Pi Tzadik Yanuv Chachma. The Tzadik is Chachma comes as natural to him as fruit from a tree. Okay, and that he doesn't explain, but that's because the Tzadik is involved in in reality and in thinking. Okay, from all the other pesukim in chapter 10. B'lashon Tapujos tikares, and a tongue that is always speaking falsehood will be cut off. So he learned it as a klala. I don't know if you noticed that, not as a consequence. I was learning it as a consequence that people will not believe him anymore. He's learning it as may Hashem cut off duplicitous tongues, and he might be getting that from his father in Tehillim, where it says Hashem says, "Yachris Hashem kol sifse chalakos lashon medaberes gedolos." I think that may Hashem cut off all false lips. Okay, so he doesn't say what those are yet. Sifse tzadik yedun raton. The lips of a tzaddik know how to appease, which means that they always know how to make peace with people, presumably because of their chachma. And even if they have to lie, that's why this pasuk is juxtaposed with the Rashayim Tapujos, that the tzaddik knows that sometimes you have to lie in order to make peace. And Pi Rashayim Tapujos is that the rasha is habituated in lying because they have to lie for themselves, and they become attached to the phenomenon of lying because it's the greatest tool. Now, that's what the Rabbeinu Yonah said. I would still like to unify it if we can, but I'll take questions or comments now. Yeah, Ariel.
Never mind. I'm good. Thank you.
Sorry, I hope I didn't extinguish your comment.
No,
Guys,
Yes,
like, a semi-related question.
Sure.
Midbar Shekar Tircha, how do you translate that then?
So Midbar Shekar Tirchag is a good example of how, if you look at that in the actual halacha of Torah Sheba'al Peh, it's not talking about lying. It's not talking about just like lying in general. Ethically, you could read the pasuk that way, but I actually don't want to get into that right now because that's going to open a can of halacha worms. Okay.
Okay, no, it's just that's where my brain goes when I hear it telling lies, because as a kid you told never tell a lie.
Right. It's funny, just where the Rambam puts the prohibitions against lying is not under Midbar Shekar Tircha, because he holds it has nothing to do with like just lying in general. He puts lying under V'halachta b'drachav, that you should walk in God's ways, and that MS is is one of God's favorite things, and no, it's but you see from that also, again, why am I forgetting if this is this week's parsha or last week? I'm pretty sure it's this week's parsha, where Sarah laughs, and then she, no, sorry, I know why. Sarah denies laughing. Where's the parsha where it says, where Hashem changes Sarah's words from "my husband is old" to "I'm old"? Was that last week's parsha? Whatever. That's the famous Gemara where it says that even God lies to bring shalom. So you see, if God does it, then then that's within his midos. Yeah. Okay. Ariel, is your hand still raised from before, or that's?
I don't know why it's still up there. How do you?
I can lower your hand.
Oh, cool. Please do.
Yeah. Rifki.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you can give it's a very specific question, but I was wondering if you can give an example of I was just thinking that sometimes I'm sure that this is good, the tzaddiks have that sometimes you do have to lie in order to keep peace between people.
Yeah.
I was thinking then maybe this is too harif of an approach.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's almost always better. Okay, that's a very strong wording, but it's almost always better to say something, because otherwise how else are you going to improve the relationship?
You mean to speak truthfully?
Yeah, because I feel like if you're lying, that's just going to perpetuate, even if it is for a good cause.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I mean, okay, here's the thing. There are. Okay, I am.
Can I add on to that question too?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, what would happen if the other two people found out?
Yeah, in Aaron's example, yeah. So I wondered that also. Yeah.
Well, can I take a stab at this?
Sure.
I think that there's a differentiation between honest and facts and honest and feelings. And this might answer to the Aaron situation as well. Meaning, lying about your feelings will only perpetuate a worse off relationship. But lying about the facts, to be honest to one's feelings, is a good thing. So Aaron wasn't making up how people felt. And even if later they found out the truth, they'll by that point realize that they both felt a certain way. So he wasn't lying about feelings, he was just lying about facts about what happened and what they said. And so, or if they approached him. And in a relationship as well, if you're lying about the facts of a situation, the example with Avram, with God saying, what Sarah said to Avram, he wasn't saying Sarah felt a certain way. He was reconfiguring the facts of what Sarah said to be more conducive to the situation. And if we ask Sarah how she really felt, I'm sure she didn't feel like oh, it's all because my husband's old, and she just said something that wasn't 100% in line with how she felt.
Yeah. Okay. So I hear the distinction you're making. I don't know, first of all, if that is our own case. I'd have to look back at the case and see if that is the case. Like, it could be that the two people did not want to actually make up, but he knew that the relationship, the pre-existing relationship.
I think my proof is the fact that they do make up. So the very fact that they do make up as a result is proof that there is a truth in the fact of them wanting to make up, because I don't think they.
But the message, though, that you're getting from that, I don't know if it could be support from that, because you could also argue that Aaron knew that the result, it's not that you see from Aaron that lying, that there's this distinction between lying about feelings versus lying about the facts, but that Aaron knew that there would be a beneficial result that was guaranteed, that he just has to get them past their initial reservation. So again, I'm not saying that I disagree wholeheartedly with your distinction. I just, like Rifki said, like, I don't want to make an absolute statement, because I think that there are cases where even lying about feelings might be warranted, like that again, I think there's most cases it won't be warranted, because I think that most cases the lie will just build up. But there are, like, I'll give you an example. Like there are times when people get super angry and they say something hurtful, and it's stemming from a desire. It might be stemming from ways that they actually feel, or it might be stemming from like just wanting to hurt the other person. But like, if a person in that situation said, like, I didn't actually feel that way, I just said this because I knew that would really hurt you, and I just wanted to hurt you. Like, and let's say they really did feel that way, like in a certain amount, but they are trying to make up. I think that could be a healthy thing. Like the victim will say, like, the victim will realize, like, oh yeah, I also say things I don't mean just to hurt people, and then they could, like, make it up.
So that's not a counterexample to what I was saying. It's just it's more of a limitation of the language and the use of the word feelings. Meaning, when I say feelings, I don't mean that. Meaning, according to how I would view it, is that still lying about the facts. The subject matter of the facts happen to be feelings.
Okay.
What I mean, like, don't lie about your feelings, is meaning if you feel like you're really upset at someone, don't say, oh, I'm not upset at you. That's what I mean by not lying about your feelings. But the subject matter could still be feelings. Yeah, agreed.
Right. I mean, isn't that the subject matter also, though?
No. I have to think better on how to articulate it, but to me, it's clear there's like a distinction.
Okay.
I'll think more about it.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Was there another? Yeah, Ariel?
Yeah, maybe just another. It's kind of a pretty cold answer, but but maybe you could say, yeah, that's just a possibility. Yeah, if they find out, or it could lead to more harm. Well, that's just the nature of the given situation. I mean, that's why you have to be a tzaddik, and you have to know exactly what you're doing. It's not something you take it lightly. It's a consequence. It's a probability. Right. But it's worth taking. That's the point.
Yeah. So let's just actually just in the again, we can continue in the after party, but let's just wrap it up here. And I think that last point fits in really well with the way we've been learning Tzadik this whole time, which is Tzadik has chachma. Okay, he has self-control. He cares about the truth, and he also cares about the system. So all those things he has going for him that will make it so that his speech will, generally speaking, be conducive to arriving at truth, generally speaking, conducive to arriving at shalom. And when he does have to lie, it's not going to go out of control like the rashas. It's not going to be like promoting a false value in society like the rashas, where you're strengthening the ability of people to lie. And it will be targeted in a way that is tailored to the needs of the people in the system to bring about like good results, So that's like what the first halves of both these pesukim are really saying here. The second half is you have people Rishaim who are, not only do they not care about the system as we've seen, but they really want to supplant the system to gain maximum power. Falsehood is a very good way of obtaining power. That is how, like, I just heard, who did I hear say this? Oh yeah, General McChrystal, the U.S. general. He said that when Hitler committed suicide, then like the vast majority of Germany was still supporting him, even though he had destroyed their whole country and like got them into like a really bad situation. But it was the propaganda was still so strong that at that point he still had like the vast majority of support. I forgot what the numbers were, but like falsehood is one of the greatest tools that Rishaim can use to attain their ends. But the thing is that it will see. I still like my shot better that it will get cut off, meaning because again, the nature of falsehood is such that you risk destroying credibility every time you engage in it. And the rasha himself will get cut off, like we've seen of many pesukim here. And when you get cut off, your tongue gets cut off, and it's basically, this is like the closing piece here of the parak that dealt with the tzaddikim and the rashaim, that like, at the end of the day, the tzaddik is going to be flourishing in his own development and in everyone else's development with chachma and shalom, and it's going to be good for everybody. And the rasha is going to be just self-destructive, like in this fantasy world that's opposite the truth, and I'm treating this as a conclusion because it is a conclusion of the topic, but like the idea is about the idea of these two pesukim are about like the tzaddik's judicious use of lying and the rasha's like completely careless and reckless use of lying, and that's like the main subject.
I don't want to push timing here, so maybe there's not time, but I do have a holistic idea if we want.
Okay, sure. I guess any other questions on this idea? If not, then you can. I'd like to hear your holistic idea. Okay, so let's officially end this year, but I'm gonna still keep recording, and we'll stay as long as we want. Yeah, go ahead, Zach. What's your holistic idea?
Okay, so it's a bit big, and there's a few points that side thoughts I had to answer some of the questions we came up with. So I'll just try to remember as much as I can.
Sure. Oh, sorry. Before you start, just because just given if it's going to be long, I want to announce this. I want to restart the Mishlei After Party WhatsApp group. And I know some of you weren't in it because we started it like midway through the year, but I'll add you if you want to be added, and you can always take yourself out. And after our shiur last week, I actually I found a shiur from Rabbi Moskowitz on the pasuk we did, and I wanted to share it with you, and I just forgot to share in the group. And Rabbi Moskowitz is, thank God, doing much better now. Not out of the woods yet, but doing much better. So thank you if he's been in your tefillos. Okay, Zach, go ahead.
Okay, so the way I was looking at this was basically how we relate to knowledge.
Yeah.
And the tools we use to do so.
Okay.
And so the main tool, I guess, that we're talking about is going to be the mouth. And there's two ways in which the mouth helps us relate to knowledge. In the more direct sense, it has to do with how we relate knowledge to others. And in the less direct sense, it has to do with how we can gain more knowledge by, questioning or articulating or dialoguing. And so gaining knowledge for ourselves as well. So looking through the pasuk, the first half of the first pasuk is like the mouth of a tzaddik speaks wisdom, meaning like provides wisdom, meaning the way he's relating to knowledge in this sense is that he's offering it to help others, the same way a tree bears fruit to help others. And so he's in this context, he's engaging, and I think that's also why he says Tzadik instead of Navon, is that this is not just about the knowledge, but it's how he's using the knowledge to the benefit of those around him.
Okay, that's good. All right, that fits really well.
So now we go to the second step of the first pasuk, and then we say the tongue of reversals or duplicities will be cut out. So the way I was thinking, the way this hit me was that the mouth is not being used for its purposes, meaning there's two roles for acquiring knowledge with the mouth. And when you're involving yourself with duplicities and reversals, you're not engaging in either of those methods for increasing wisdom, whether in yourself or others.
Right.
And so being cut out is basically saying, it's like a strong way of saying like there's no purpose.
Yeah, right.
To this.
That's good.
So now we're going to take a look at like the ramifications of these two things. So the lips of the tzaddik knows favor. So I think that there's like a couple of things we can get from this. One is the one you were mentioned in, I think, Rabbeinu Yonah, of like the lips get like a knowledge of their own.
Yeah.
Which I like that point. But the other thing I was thinking about is that when you have the intention of that the tzaddik has of using knowledge to the benefit of others, there will be a benefit in the sense that his lips will improve in both of the tools that the mouth provides in the pursuit of knowledge. One is his articulation of his ideas, because they're for the benefit of others. His articulation will increase, and his ability to use his lips in dialoguing and discussing to gain knowledge for himself will also increase, meaning that skill will increase. And I think there's a natural rationale behind that, which is that when you put others when you involve others in the idea of knowledge, like you're saying, knowledge is to help others, you're actually decreasing your own presence, which is an obstacle in understanding often. Meaning, like, if you're able to like lessen the ego, the interference that the ego has in knowledge, then you're going to get further in your ability to understand things and your ability to articulate things. And so here there's like almost the natural consequence of when the mouth of the tzaddik, when his intentionality is to help others with his wisdom, he'll get the benefit of articulating himself better, both to them and to his own benefit. So then,
did you explain how that is? I just missed the ratzon part, or did you not get to that yet?
The ratzon part?
Yeah.
Meaning like the lips will articulate themselves better.
So what would just how are you understanding they will know favor? Like,
meaning like
whose favor?
Like favor in this case is like the best outcome that they can engage in. Meaning if you're trying to say something, if they know favor, then they're expressing it in the best way.
Okay.
And then the mouth of the wicked is reversals or duplicities. So here, in order to understand this, I'm actually going to try to answer two questions. One is why, like, what's the new information? And two is why is it say wicked here but not in the first pasuk?
Yeah.
And I think that they kind of answer each other in the sense that the new information is that it's wicked. It is the wicked element, and it's showing us that like that, but the absence of wicked in the first pasuk is showing us the difference between engaging in positive and negative speech in regards to wisdom. So like if you're a regular person and you share an idea for the benefit of others, that in of itself is already like a good act. Meaning like you don't need to be a tzaddik for that to be a tzaddik act. Like you just did something that was good. But you can engage in duplicitous or words that like that don't fulfill the purpose, so to speak. Meaning like your tongue can be cut out in that sense. Meaning like you're not fulfilling the purpose without yet reaching the level of a rasha. And that what he's teaching us is that if you're engaging in knowledge in that manner, then you're going to become a rasha.
Okay, that's good. All right, so the overall subject, I know you said this in the beginning, I just want to make sure I get it clear. The overall subject of both pesukim is the relationship between speech and knowledge, right?
How we engage with knowledge specifically through the tool of our mouth.
Okay, good. And so I just want to make sure I get the basic ideas here. So the first quarter is that it yields fruit for you and for other people, meaning it's gonna be beneficial for all around beneficial. And that's why it says it's a tzaddik, because the tzaddik is in the framework of benefiting other people, whereas navon would just be in his own learning. And lashon tapujos tikares is that your speech is worthless if it's not providing such benefit, if you're not using your speech for knowledge. And the reason why it's not saying a rasha in the first half is because and is saying in the second half is to show that engaging in this kind of speech will lead you to become a rasha. I don't know if I agree with that, but that was what you're saying the answer to that question is, right? And then sifsei tzadik yidun ratzon means that the more you, I forgot how exactly tied with the lips that way, but yeah, say it again with the lips.
The more you engage with knowledge with the mindset of helping others, the more you'll be able to understand of knowledge and be able to articulate.
And then your lips will be on target, so to speak, which is the yidun ratzon. They'll achieve their goal, and then firushaim tapujos is that's the wicked quality, and that you'll become a wicked person. Yeah, I guess my objection to that first part is I feel like there are a lot of people who don't use their speech for chachma, and they engage in duplicity. I'm not convinced that will make them into a rasha. Like there are fools who use duplicity as well. Like a con man is not a rasha. A con man is a fool.
So
like he's not involved in chachma, but he's.
I guess I can frame it a little with maybe a little more clarity. This is coming to me now just because you're objecting, so it's forcing me to think a little bit more. Is that in the beginning, the duplicity could just be for your own benefit. It could just be selfish, meaning like, oh, I'll be able to get away with this or whatever. But if once you develop this skill, then you'll end up wielding it to harm others as well, because you'll be able to, like, you'll have the power to do so.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, that fits. Yeah. I guess I have an easier time. I think it's putting a lot of weight on the absence of the word rasha in the first half, and I feel like we definitely know that the pasuk is talking about a tzaddik and a rasha, and I feel like it's a more conservative interpretation to keep everything about the tzaddik and the rasha, as opposed to like positing this new thing about the tongue itself is not talking about rasha and it's talking about a development into a rasha. I feel like that's just I'd rather avoid positing that, but I hear what you're saying. Okay, anything else for tonight? If not, then we finished our 10th parak after a year, more than a year.
I just have a question. Sorry to be that annoying person though.
No, that's fine. Not
I was like going back to the first, not the first, but like the thing before Zach's idea. Like about the nature of why you're lying. I mean, I'm not claiming to be a tzaddik, obviously, but if I'm trying to learn from the pesukim, it's not like a very dangerous game to be playing, of thinking like I can now lie if I have like the greater system like in mind. Like I just feel like that's a really dangerous lesson to take away.
Yeah, it is, but I'm not aware of us, hiding this halacha from people, just because it's dangerous. Like I feel like this is a halacha that a lot of people hear about, that it's mutter to lie for shalom, and yeah, it's dangerous, because lying is really tempting in many situations, and you could do it without control and without chachma. So like every
time we bring this up, like we always bring it up as like a worst case scenario thing of like if you need to resort to this, and like for shalom bayis specifically, meaning like when it's very personal matters, we don't make it like a public thing type situation, not really that like even between like other people's friendships, like in our own situation.
Yeah, I mean, so you're asking like on the Rabbeinu Yonah why he like almost glorified it. I mean, he said the Chachamim praise this as a quality,
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you can't stop the man from saying what he thinks. If Rabbeinu Yonah thinks that this is a praiseworthy quality.
It could also be praiseworthy because it's so distasteful to the chacham. I mean, to the tzaddik.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's going against his nature in order to do this.
Yeah.
Hold on just 1 second here. I just want to find where if this is going to open up.
Wait, also while you're finding this, I feel like
Yeah.
there's a reason why it specifies like it's for the tzaddik. Like it's not just saying like, oh, like, you know, like someone who's like a Benoni or whatever, like should be using this in order to get like X, Y, and Z result. But I do think that because it's specifying like you have to be at a certain level where you have enough both self-control and also just knowledge of like situations and social stuff. Like it's not just saying it as like a general rule, I don't think.
I mean, in Mishlei, you're right. But the what do you call it? The in halacha, I don't know if it's formulated like that. You know, I don't think halacha says like you have to be a tzaddik in order to do this. I'm just really quickly looking at the halacha again. I think as much, I feel like if I open up the halacha and read it, we're going to be here all night talking about the about it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll if you're interested in it, I'll try to find the Ramam shiur that I gave on this. It was a couple of shiurim though, so it's like it was like, you know, a couple shiurim. So like if you're really interested, you can listen to the shiurim. No obligation to. But I think I'm ready to go to bed. But
isn't this the point of the after party though?
Isn't this what?
Isn't this the point?
This is the point of the after party, but I would be lying about my feelings if I didn't say I want to go to sleep right now. I've been very makpid this year or this school year on the 8 hours of sleep thing and like turning everything off by 9 p.m. and then like winding down and then like having that be the thing though. So I think you know,
wake up later. It's not, you know.
I've also been very makpid on waking up super early so that I have a full hour of reading every morning, and that's how I read so many books, Ariel. So
this was a good end to the chapter. Thank you.
Yes, it's good, and so stay tuned for next week when we decide whether I choose a random chapter instead of going to chapter 11, because I'll tell you the next pasuk is insane. The next pasuk I've literally done like 4 times this year. Oh, sorry, no. Yeah, 4 times this year. Because it's a pasuk that is a repetition of a pasuk in the Torah. And we saw it twice in the chapters we're doing in our morning shiurim. So this would be like the 4th time I'm doing that pasuk. It's just going to drive me crazy. But maybe we'll do it. We'll see what I'm feeling like. Okay. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.